Week 5 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few players I would stash this week before they break out, or it's too late to go get them as a free agent and they have to waste a waiver or fab money on these players. First player, Jalen Tobais of the Dallas Cowboys. Going into Week 5, Brandon Cooks is going to be out for the Dallas Cowboys. And Jalen Tobais, he showed some flashes this season. Best games in Week 2 versus the Saints, 6 catches, 82 yards, 9 targets. In Week 3, versus Baltimore, 3 catches, 42 yards, and found the end zone. So now with Brandon Cooks out and this Dallas Cowboy team needing someone to step up behind CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson in the passing game, I think Tobais could be the guy. And Brandon Cooks, let's be honest, I think his best days are behind him. He's had a great NFL career, no doubt about it. But I believe at this point, Jalen Tobais has more upside and definitely is a wide receiver that could break out. So now available in 95% of fantasy leagues. Fantasy owners should go out there and get Tobais on their roster before someone else scoops him up, especially if he has a breakout game in Pittsburgh. He's going to be a hot waiver wire pickup going into Week 6. Next player is Trey Tucker of the Las Vegas Raiders. We already seen Trey Tucker go out there and have 2 nice games in a row. Week 3, Trey Tucker versus Carolina, 7 catches, 96 yards, touchdown, 9 targets. In Week 4, versus the Browns, carried 3 yards on a rushing touchdown and 5 catches, 41 yards on 6 targets. Now with Davante Adams most likely getting traded away, and at least he's going to be out this week with the hamstring injury, Trey Tucker is going to step right in, most likely as the number 2 wide receiver for Vegas. I know their offense isn't good, really. The running game is pretty much non-existent. Jacoby Myers, he's been up and down, but anytime someone gets an opportunity, and a young player at that, to step in the starting lineup and get a chance, it's definitely someone to keep an eye on. And now available in 87% fantasy leagues. If he goes out there this week at Denver, even though it's a tough matchup and has another good game, you're going to want to beat people to the waiver wire and get him this week. Next play is Videl with the Los Angeles Chargers. So this Charger team, I know J.K. Dobbins is locked in, is the running back. This is the bye week for Los Angeles already this week in Week 5. And we know after the bye week, that's where rookies come out and start playing a little bit more. So Gus Edwards, he's been ineffective. Dobbins is taking the job from him. And Videl, they used a pretty decent draft pick on him this season in the NFL draft. So like I said, he hasn't played a snap this season. He's been inactive the first 4 games of the year. But Videl definitely could get an opportunity after this bye week. And we know Harbaugh, he likes platooning running backs, and he's not going to give J.K. Dobbins, a guy coming off an ACL and Achilles injuries, 25, 30 touches a game. So Videl available right now in 99% of fantasy leagues, and definitely a player to stash this week, I believe. Next play is Antonio Gibson of the New England Patriots. So there's a real possibility Gibson could start this week, reports are coming out. Available right now in tons of fantasy leagues in 79%. And we've seen flashes from Gibson this season. 2 games with double-digit fantasy points in the first 4. And if he gets that starting job in New England, play more than just passing downs for the most part, which he's been playing this season. He's a wide receiver in college, and he has the experience as well being an every down back early in his NFL career with the Commanders. So the last few weeks for Gibson, Week 2 versus Seattle, 11 carries, 96 yards, a catch, 7 yards. Week 3 at the New York Jets, tough matchup, didn't get much going, 5 carries, 29 yards, 3 catches, 8 yards. And then last week at San Francisco, 6 carries, 12 rushing yards, and 3 catches, 67 yards, including a 50-yard grab late in that one. So like I said, if Gibson could be the starting running back, and he's available in 79% of fantasy leagues, this will be the time to go out there and get him. Because if he is the starter this week versus the Miami Dolphins and he goes out there and has a big ball game, you're going to miss out. And now, while he's available in tons of leagues, this will be the time to get him this week. Final stash is Tank Bigsby of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tank Bigsby, there's a possibility he could start eating into the workload even more over the next couple weeks for this Jacksonville Jaguar team. Travis Etienne, he's had a couple down games this season. Bigsby, when he's got an expanded look a little bit, he's looked better. We saw Week 1, had a nice game, 12 carries, 73 yards in that ball game, out rushing Travis Etienne in Miami. And then going to Week 4 at Houston, 7 carries, 90 yards, and that one including a 54-yard run. So I think Tank Bigsby, I mentioned this a lot in the other videos, he's a physical runner in between the tackles, not much in the passing game, but someone first, second down, definitely I could see being used more often for this Jaguar team. And even at the goal line as well, more physical, trying to break tackles than a Travis Etienne, who's more of elusive and a good receiving back out of the backfield. So Tank Bigsby as well, out there in 79% of leagues, and definitely someone to stash this week. So that's a few players I look to stash for week 5 of the fantasy football season.